Now, out the gate, one of the things I really don't appreciate is like when you try to get like a picture up on the screen and you go to the gallery mode or whatever, these are the same recycled ass pictures, dude. Like this was on my 2017, what, C7? Like, come on, LG. Like you have got to do better than the same old recycled ass pictures over and over again. This is literally, I had this on my E8. I had this on my C7, okay, back in the day. What is this? Like, we need new, like 100% new, like give me new stuff alongside the old stuff if you do include it, but don't allow that to be like your only offering here. But okay, so far as I look at the picture quality, I mean, it looks like any LG OLED. I'm not seeing some like razzle dazzle experience, so obviously I'm gonna have to get some more unique content on the screen. All right, guys, so out of the box, in terms of picture quality, it does not look great. I'm gonna show you the picture presets that you have to work with here. But essentially it's pretty much the exact same as the C2. So we have under select mode, vivid, standard, APS, cinema, sports, game optimizer, filmmaker mode, ISF, expert, bright, ISF, expert, dark. That's pretty much it. Now we can look at cinema to see if that looks better, which it does. It looks a little bit better than game optimizer, not as cool. Filmmaker mode, that looks a little bit better as well. So between filmmaker mode and cinema, filmmaker mode gives you more contrast out the gate. So if you like a contrasty picture, this will definitely give you more of that contrasty vibe. However, cinema is going to give you much more in the way of shadow detail. I imagine this is going to boil down to like what literally you are watching. If you're watching something like a dark film like Harry Potter, I've seen like a lot of people complaining about the new Batman movie. Yeah, then maybe you don't want to use the filmmaker mode, maybe use cinema because it's opening up those shadows a lot better. So I'm going to start with cinema as my base. All your aspect ratio stuff is pretty much exactly the same. There's nothing new there. In terms of your advanced settings that they offer, again, it's literally just all the same things that we've had before. Again, you can kind of see it all here. Your peak brightness is off. We turn it to high. I'm not noticing like any like razzle dazzle effect, like holy shit, the whole screen just got brighter. So again, I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to obviously do my own custom thing with these settings, but I'm just showing you guys what you have as far as presets here. Your color modes, your color gamut detect. So again, you have Adobe RGB, which I think is nice that you have that. I don't know if the C2 had that. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure they had Adobe RGB this year on the C2 as well. So I think it's good that they're expanding out to actual color spaces, but again, it really does just depend. Dynamic, native, and then auto detect. So I mean, I would say like the safe bet, like to just jump in if you want a little bit more color, maybe just go to something like definitely not Adobe RGB. I would honestly lean more towards dynamic. I feel like dynamic looks a lot better than the default. It's native and dynamic almost look exactly the same, and they basically don't do anything. So I'd say they're kind of like duplicate. Maybe that changes in HDR. I wouldn't know. I have to test it more, but that's what I would say. So if you're in auto detect and you just want a little bit better color than the default shitty color they give you with auto detect, which is the default Rec 709 look without any kind of color enhancements, then that's kind of all you're going to get. But to make it just a little bit better, you can use something like dynamic. Now, of course, you have to go a little bit more in depth with these things, and I'll do that for you. You know, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed with these settings, you're feeling like, you know, if my TV out of the box just isn't giving me what I paid for, I will make some epic settings for these product lines of the C2, you know, the G2, things like that, this particular product in general, and make sure that you're all buttoned up and taken care of. So just make sure you join. I've made it super affordable. Anyone of any income level can join. It's not like some elitist thing. It's $5. Join the membership, and then I'll take care of you with all the epic settings and stuff like that. But continuing with what this TV does offer, if you wanted to do all this stuff yourself, you have under color adjustment, you have low, medium, and high, and then user selection. User selection unlocks the more refined things for your color management system, so you can dig in there and you can access a various amount of different things. So, you know, that's a good thing there, and I like that. Again, it's still the hue, saturation, and luminance way of doing things, where, again, you have hue, saturation, and luminance versus using like RGB values and having to mix those together to get your results. So that's really nice. But again, that's more of the technical side of things. Most people wouldn't ever have to root around into this, know about a 2-point, 10-point, or 20-point, or 22-point rather method of calibration. Most people won't have to root around and do all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah. So those are your advanced options that you have there. Under clarity, your options that you have here, your sharpness is still exactly the same. It goes all the way up to, I believe, 100 or 50? 50. I don't know why I wanted to say 100. I'm so used to it going to 100. I'll just drop that down. Super resolution still goes to high, medium, and low, which is really nice. Noise reduction, same, high, medium, low, and auto. Impact noise reduction, more of the same. Smooth gradation, you can go high, medium, and low, which is good. Your motion enhancements, you have smooth movement. I just like to take that out the gate because I like motion processing. That's kind of why I buy modern TVs, but everybody arrives at a different answer. So if you like cinematic movement or you like it off, just select that. But I love seeing nice fluid motion, especially in video games. It just makes everything come alive. But again, I have to test motion processing to see if this has the same issue like the C1 had, or rather the C2 had, where anytime we had some rapid artifacts, or rather not artifacts, but motion, like geometry, like ribbons twirling, like in Demon Slayer, the Entertainment District arc, for my anime fans out there, there was a lot of motion issues. So hopefully this doesn't have that same problem, but I will see. You can apply to all sources still, filmmaker mode, reduce blue light, so all that stuff is still there. Now this is kind of slept on, right? You go to general AI service, and this is where you'll find things like your AI Picture Pro, which is almost immediately always turned off. Now, once I turn it on, I noticed those shadows started to crush a little bit more. Don't know what that's all about, but again, that's something for the review process I will investigate. I don't know why it added more contrast just because I used AI Picture Pro, but do be mindful, this is your AI processing that you are paying for, so ideally you want it to be on anyway. I wouldn't use AI brightness. AI brightness isn't really much of anything to write home about, and auto genre scene selection is kind of more of the same. It kind of has some extreme effects on the picture in terms of like oversaturating colors from time to time. I'm gonna have to test that as well to see how that works out, but again, I'll report back at a later date with some more obviously solid findings. This is more of an initial setup and things like that to kind of get you guys started and let you know what you can expect and can't expect and things like that. You still have all your device care options, right? So you have your comfort mode, your theater mode, things like that, kids mode. So you have options so you don't have to sit there and, you know, feel like your OLED is going to be too bright or whatever the case may be. And I think it's good. You still have your logo luminance adjustment things. They have care recommendations, but I don't need that. I don't really find OLEDs to be so bright that I need to reduce my eye strain of all things. That's just not something that I've ever found. OLEDs, which can't hardly ever even break 1,000 nits to really put me to my knees. Like, that's not a thing. The S95B obviously is a exception because that thing gets over 1,500 nits. But still, that's something else entirely that we're talking about there. But as far as everything, it's pretty much the same as what you get on the step-down C2 model. So I think the question is really going to come into play as to how this thing performs with more varied content and things like that. And ultimately, that's what I'll be testing out. I'll be testing out to see like how it looks. Now, as far as like out of the box, like without doing anything to it, as far as I can see, it's not fantastic, right? Like, I'm not looking at this picture and going, wow, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Nowhere close, nowhere in the stratosphere. Those words don't even leave my mouth remotely. It's better than the average that I've seen out of manufacturers, where it's typically really super overly blue and really cool. And so I think, like, at least in terms of like their calibration process, they did a little bit more of a better job with buttoning this up. I do not feel like this is going to be a particularly hard TV to button up after the fact, because having calibrated TVs for many years, I can safely say like this is a lot closer to what a reference calibrated display looks like, and the accuracy looks like it's definitely there. So I shouldn't have a whole lot of work to do. I mean, of course, once we run it through the program, we see what it's tracking with the delta errors and things like that. And just to put that in English, the visibly perceptible errors in the picture, I mean, really, that's where we'll do all of our work. But honestly speaking, we shouldn't have any real problems whatsoever. Again, so far, so good. It looks okay. It looks fine. I'm going to run it through the ringer, as you guys know. So, again, leave me your feedback and stuff like that. This was only the unboxing. This is not a final verdict. This isn't me bashing on them. It's just like a genuine, like, candid, very real-world unboxing as to how I'm perceiving this as I take it out of the box for the first time. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. And as always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. The #1 brand in honesty. And until the next video, I'll see you guys later.